Get me on the inside. Take all those things. I'm going to stay.
That's what I'm saying, so I can get up and stand. I want to get up, so I'm going to set up so I can get up and stand.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank the Leitner who been stalwart. I had Councilwoman travel to sign my passport. She made it impossible for me to get over here. I understand that there's another meeting occurring tonight in the Manchester area relative to the zoning matter. I shouldn't say just zoning, but some relative to development. And I know some people who want to be both places, and we know how that is. Can't be everywhere. We are back in Mr. Councilman Jewell's district too. When I say his district, people who have a vote in any part of a district claim that district for themselves. So we're in South Richmond. And that's the way I used to do it if I lived in it. And a part of South Richmond used to be my senatorial district. Some while back when I first ran for the Senate and ran to be elected at large. And secondly, I had that portion up to Hopkins Road on back across the road. We're going to vary it a little bit tonight if it's okay with you. That is what we've usually done every field representative fit on that round table. He's here. Ms. Leitner, as many of you also know, is one of our round table people. These meetings have been great. Getting around, hearing from you, and listening to what you have to say, because you make the difference. One, what I had done heretofore was to tell you so many of the things we've done. And I'd be very pleased to do that tonight, but I think we can move past that. Only to the extent that you have questions relative to any of it, we'll deal with it. The other thing I want to make it as clear as I can, because in many of these meetings, the last time we were here, we saw it. So many questions came up relative to schools and education, what needs to be done. And I want to tell you that those are not questions that should be addressed to our administration, shouldn't be addressed to us at all. Because I have so little to do with schools. Some say too much, really. The only thing that we deal with is dealing with the money. The council members and the administration deal with the money. I do the best I can with authority that is, and consequently, to watch how the money is spent as best we can. That pretty much limits what it is we do as people. We have nothing to do with curriculum, nothing to do with location, nothing to do with closing, nothing to do with the administration, the teachers, numbers of employees, none of it. What people learn, what they do in it. We have involved ourselves with choice, put our people there to make certain that we have something to do with correcting some of the things that we saw. So with that in mind, and I have our team of people here we usually have to answer questions, that is, people from every agency, every department, every entity. And if they can't answer your questions, then we are in a big world of trouble. But I think they will. I think they can, and I welcome always the opportunity to meet with you. So I think it would be good, enlightenment, if it's okay with you, that we just move immediately on to questions. You heard that? So let's start it off. Yes, ma'am, I see you standing. We need Patrick with the mic. He's coming to you.
Good evening, community. Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
I'd like to bring to your attention, I live on Branchwood Drive here in Southside. I've been there for over 20 years. And this past January, the young lady that owned the house across the street from me, unfortunately had to go into foreclosure, and it was purchased by someone who I've never seen, not like I've seen him, but I've never actually met him. This house, in my estimation, has turned into a flop house for migrant workers. At any given time, there's between 4 to 15 vehicles parked in the yard and on the street and on the front lawn. It's occupied at any given time between 4 and 15 adult men. The garbage is unbelievable, beer bottles, the noise, their behavior. I see them taking license plates off one car, putting them on another car. The neighborhood is totally upset about this. And we feel very helpless because we don't know who this house belongs to. We don't know who these men are. I questioned one of them the other day, that one that was able to speak English, and he told me he doesn't even know the people that reside in the house with him. They come and go. It's turned into a flop house. And I need help.
Well, you're going to get it. And we have the people here you've got right behind you there, Mr. Dahlberg, who's the building commissioner. He's going to get your name, your address. He's going to find out who these people are, why they're there, how they are able to be there with whatever permit is necessary. And then he's going to, as you see the police coming to you also, to find out who it is and where it is. And that's the purpose of having these meetings, because you won't have to call anybody, you won't have to be going in the other place. It's, as they say, it's going to be dead. We're going to take care of it. Thank you very much. Dahlberg is taking care of you, and then you got the other. I think going on to the other side, right, the lady in the green. Aqua, I guess, yeah. Go ahead. Good.
I'm speaking on behalf of Forest Creek Senior Apartment. And we have some other seniors here that live. And we're here because we don't have any transportation, no city transportation, GRTC, that's not come up in there. We have a lot of handicapped, some wheelchairs, some just people that don't have cars or transportation. They would have to walk.
What's the nearest, what is the nearest bus stop?
It's down on Walmsley and Broad Rock. Okay, so this Forest Creek is where Broad Rock stops and Ivory starts. It's a community right with like 84 units. And we don't have any other, there are some that don't have any transportation at all. They can't walk down there to Walmsley.
Well, we got a couple of people here that are going to check into that right now. You got Jeff Powell, and you got Gary DeVal, and you got Paul Quigley. Beg pardon?
We have Reva also. Yeah.
I know. Great. I agree, but they're going to help Reva.
She's been working with us.
I know, but we're
going
to do it. That's why we're here. But we need to make certain that that is a priority item, that we check it out. And one of the things we find at these meetings, when people can get directly involved and see who it is that's going to help them, and then we follow up with it, because our people take the names, take the phone numbers, the address, and we take the question as well as the criticism and follow through. Thank you for coming. I also want to recognize a couple of people here. I haven't said anything. Horace Harrison is here, who's one of our roundtable people. Alma Moore is here, another one of our roundtable people who advise the mayor. Is anyone else here on our roundtable that I've omitted? Because they'll let me know if I haven't. Yes, sir.
I'm here to address a problem over here on Frog Rock. I live on Preaching Road.
All right.
That would be me. I'm the pastor of Evangel Assembly. We are down here on Broad Rock, 2 blocks from the VA hospital. In the early 80s, when they widened Broad Rock Road and made it from 2-lane to 4-lane, they took 18 feet at the front of our property in order to make the road wider. But in the process of doing that, they put a 420-foot easement all the way through our property so that the highway, the water could run off into this easement. The problem we're having with the easement is it's 10-foot deep, very wide, and it's not being maintained. Now, my understanding by peoples through the years, some say the ditch belongs to the city or the highway department, and they're supposed to maintain it. Some say the property of the ditch belongs to the church, and we're supposed to take care of it. So, I need answers, real answers.
Has anybody determined the real ownership?
Not totally sure. See, that's the problem. I don't understand the concept of an easement and who is totally responsible. If the city or the road highway department is responsible, then could they clean it out? Because right now, it's sitting there with a couple feet of stagnant water.
Well, it wouldn't really matter who owns it. If it's there, it should be cleaned out, period. And so I don't think the ownership of it is the biggest problem right now. We're going to see who has the responsibility of cleaning it.
Well, my other question then is, if the church is responsible for this ditch or this piece of property and it belongs to us, then why can't we fill it in with dirt?
Well, let's have Jeff Powell just a moment. Jeff, would you check with her with reference to the church? I know what the church is.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, you got somebody?
Bobby Vincent is hiring ops and drainage.
He's right there to take care of it. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think I remember when it happened, when that easement was put there. Yes, sir.
My name is Bob Reinhardt. My mother is Ruby Reinhardt. She lives on 4108 Lynn Havens. She's 93. This week she's bagged 16 bags of leaves. So she's probably going to outlive me.
Fantastic.
She said, tell the governor Wilder. I said, Mom, he's mad.
She remembers.
She's been there since 41. So anyhow, she said, tell him one thing, more doing, and less talking. And I think we see that in you.
Thank you.
I have heard 2 things. I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina right now. That's where I live. She lives here. And 2 things that got me concerned listening to the news. You may want to table it to later, but why the council is trying to take you to court, and why are they willing to spend thousands of dollars? And I know this can happen because I myself am looking into legal counsel down in Myrtle Beach for some of the things that are going on up here. Why they are spending this kind of money on lawyers who are already pretty well off when it can go to helping these people that need it. That's number one. Number two, what is going on when we allow felons to be able to vote in any election? Now, maybe I'm wrong, but when I was growing up as a little boy, I was told that you obey laws. You become a criminal, you create a felony act, you do not get to vote. Whether or not you have anything to do with that, or be able to, is there any legal maneuver on those people that are law-abiding people to prevent this type of act from going on politically?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, give your mother my congratulations for having been here 93 years. I'd like to stay a little longer too. And thank her for remembering what she's saying, and she's absolutely right. I try to do is a little talking, and sometimes people say I do too much. Not talking, but too many other things rather than talk. Let me answer your last question first. Felons in Virginia cannot vote, and they are not permitted to vote. They can ask for a restoration of their voting rights. They have to file an application with the Secretary of the Commonwealth, who then processes it and then submits it to the governor. He can or cannot approve it. But felons, just by going to the polls, can't vote. And if their names are put there on the registration list, the registrar has an obligation not to permit it. So that's not a problem in Virginia. That's not a problem in most places. There are some states that have what I call more lenient methodologies for people to vote. One of the real problems with that, though, is you got to understand what a felony is. When I started practicing law earlier, 100 years ago, if you wrote a check, it bounced, and if it was over $50, that was a felony. And to hold that on somebody for the rest of their lives is rather onerous. So there needs to be a coming together and a meeting of the minds as to what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. So for that, but the law is still the same in Virginia. As much as I would like to go into talking about the lawsuit, I can't. Merely to say only this, that 2 months ago I'd gone before the council and presented what I considered to be the problem, and at that time I said I'd be looking forward to talking with the council, and if they chose to. I don't criticize them for taking the action that they take. I was asked earlier by the media when I came in here, as to, is there still room for mediation? And I said I've never ruled it out. You need to know I've never carried anybody to court since I've been mayor. I've been carried there several times. I haven't been carried out yet. But there's always room for mediation, and that's the bottom line. Better interest is what's in the best interest of the citizens, what's in the best interest of the people. I'll continue to try to do that. People have different views. My view might be different from someone else's. I'm always available for being able to sit, as I think Lyndon Johnson used to say, and reason together. So that's still available for me. Yes, sir. Hey, Johnny.
How you doing? Okay,
Good.
My name is James Al Johnson. I live in the 600 block of Walton Village Drive.
Thank you.
Parking is hectic, just normally. Here in the last week or so, the bus company decided to move the bus stop from a perfectly good location and put it directly in front of our houses or our apartments. Parking is terrible anyway. With the bus stop there, it's frantic with folks who have to work at night.
How long has it been there?
About 2 weeks now. About 2 weeks. But I'm saying, why throw the baby out with the water? The bus location is fine. It does need some little prep to it because there were some concerns about it. There's a culvert there that's not finished. The brush could be cut back, and maybe some additional lighting, like in the wintertime when it gets dark at 5. That that would be the perfect solution. We could have our parking spaces back. The persons who want to catch the bus, they could catch the bus perfectly safe, hopefully.
Well, we're gonna have Mr. Duval stand right behind you there. Gonna be obviously needing to talk with the people at GRTC.
And then the bad part about it is, I talked to one of the guys at GRTC. He said he talked with the complex folks, told them to tell us. Complex folks said they never heard it. So in other words, they did this to us. We had no idea that this was going to happen.
Well, I was always of the impression that notice had to be given, or should have been given in those kinds of situations, and people would have an opportunity to express themselves. I'll say this, in the time I've been mayor, I've had great relations with the people at GRTC. They've been very cooperative, and I wouldn't imagine they wouldn't be understanding the concerns you have. And Gary Duval would be a gentleman. Name and address, phone number.
Well, one person did, I think it was a field supervisor came out there one day while I was out there, and I did talk with him. And he saw what
problem is
talking about, yeah.
Well, if it's a problem, it needs to be addressed, man. We'll look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I reside at 616 Ward Rose.
5615.
5616 Ward Rose.
All right.
And I live in that section that really serves as a between the Lothian and Hall Street. And the Stephen is support on that. It's a residential area, but the people travel well at 50 to 55. 2 years ago, my car ran into my home. This past summer, it ran into my next-door neighbor's home. And about 5 years ago, a car ran into my neighbors across the street, Mrs. Sanchez. I want to know if there's a process. Also, large trucks, bulk trucks, 18-wheelers come through that section as well. Is there a process to lower the speed?
Well, first of all, we need to check it and to have a speed check, traffic check,
Right.
see what's going on. Officers coming up in there. He's captain, he's the sector. Gee, that's something I said I wasn't going to talk about what we've done. But what we've done is to put sector police in every area of town. The same policeman all the time will be there, not just for crime, but for the very thing you're talking about, to find out what needs to be done. So you'll know this is the captain who runs the sector. He's the guy that you need to call. As a matter of fact, I would say to those of you in attendance, if you call him, you'll get quicker results than if you would report it to the dispatcher. If you would call downtown, because the dispatcher's got to ask your name, who you are, where you are. When he gave you his card, when you call him, he's going to get right back to you. Take care of it. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Governor Wilder, do I have to stand up?
No, you don't have to stand up. No, it's, look, it doesn't matter what she calls me. I've been called a whole bunch of things.
I'm sorry.
Sit down.
I have a lot of complaints.
Start talking.
I lived at 1118 Floral Avenue.
Royal.
Floral.
Floyd.
Floral. F-L-O-R-A-L.
Floral, I got you.
I'm on a three-way dead end. Okay, I have an unimproved street. It's yellow. It's grass. I keep up that street. That's a whole block. I keep up the ditches all the way down. That's a block. And what that man said, I'm raking leaves from spring to winter for the city. Because they have about 11 trees running down that street. Well, it is my driveway because we don't have one. But the drainage ditch is stopped up. It runs all the way down to a drainage ditch. And it is completely stopped up. The water is standing. The Isabel came through, and I've been calling the city for 3 years. Ever since Isabel came through. Trees came down, and it's a big mess down there.
behind this lady's house. And the ditches I was keeping up, the overgrowth that's come into them, briars, vines. I can't clean that ditch no more because I can't even see it. I've been after the city to cut down all that stuff. I'm in my 70s, but I'm doing a lot of work for the city. And I should be on payroll.
Thank you very much. Let me say that, go ahead, sir.
I would love to invite you out there.
Well, let me tell you, before I come, I'm going to make certain that the people who can really do something come before I do.
Well,
But let me point out to you
I
that,
have read on it.
well, let me tell you this. We had a meeting here with Marty and Doug Connor's group, and we spoke about the drainage problems in South Richmond. I'm aware of it. They didn't just start. They've been here forever. And it's a very serious problem that we have, and we've got to fix the drainage problem all over the city. We shouldn't have to wait for the a la carte treatment like we give Saco Bottom. After that, we spent the millions of dollars. The Battery Park situation where we spend through FEMA millions of dollars. It would be far better if we could have a way to fix these drains on a regular basis with monies available for us to be able to do so. Now, will we be able to do it? I don't know, but I tell you, as far as your particular situation is concerned, we're going to get to it, and he's going to get your name. Ask our friend from DPW to come on up and get your address. He's got the...
Well, like I said, I'd invite you out.
Well, I'm coming out, I'll tell you, if it's in the morning, I'll take coffee, a little cream, one equal.
Come on out
I'm
Saturday
coming.
morning and
And if it's later in the day, I might have to have a cracker or two. But I might make it. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. He's got it. Patrick, you ready? Yes, ma'am. Good.
I have with me the City Connection insert that comes with our utilities. And this one goes back to January through March 2007. And the topic, one of the topics in the City Connection was written on a spotlight program. We have a couple of dilapidated properties in our neighborhood. Now, we'd simply like to know how this program is being implemented.
Well, we've had, he's coming to, our Dahlberry's going to handle it. Ordinarily, we would have Mrs. Rachel Flynn, who is a part of this, well, help us in the initiation of the Spotlight program. But she's down in Manchester tonight with this other meeting, so our building commissioner here is going to tell you about the implementation of it.
Well, we're taking our first case forward right now, so I think this is a good opportunity to see how the process
If you wanted
works.
to
There's
raise
some
your hand and
properties on
just
Broad
kind of
Street, Second
brief
Broad
you
Street,
so they can come and talk to
Planning
you.
Commission Monday night
If you want to, give them
they
a card.
had a continuance, but
Okay.
a good opportunity to
I mean,
show Planning Commission what some of the properties are and what some of the concerns are. They've gone ahead and gotten so we can have interior access to the property, so I'm sure we're going to move these properties forward. And whether or not the city ends up purchasing.
Well, tell her, first of all, you send the letters and how you do it, and then once the letters are sent, how much time is given for the response thereto, and then what we can do relative to the state law in enabling us to move in and either repair, buy, sell, or do whatever, which you tell them. Even though I did.
I don't know if they would do a better job than the mayor. The process is you start off at low-level code enforcement activity. If there are bona fide violations and they are given an opportunity to fix them and they don't fix them, then if the building is, for example, either vacant or the conditions of the property are such that it doesn't make economic feasibility for them to be repaired, and thus it's a property that continues to sit, it can go into a spotlight program. It starts by a preliminary determination of spotlight being made. That's a formal determination that's made by the CAO's office. A letter goes on out. They're given 30 days to submit a work plan of how they're going to resolve the issue. if they don't submit a work plan back, or if that work plan comes in and it doesn't address the issues, then the city can go ahead and craft a work plan. Then there's a formal hearing process that it has to go through. This is a fairly arduous process, but it's that way because the end result is taking of property. So then it goes for hearings in front of the Planning Commission, City Council. End result is that work plan can either have the city staff hire contractors to come in and fix the problems with the property, or the city can take the property through eminent domain, paying fair market value through appraisal process. It takes 6 months or so to really work a case through, so it's not fast, but it's really meant to deal with the more difficult cases and the ones that, for various reasons, we can't be successful in court with. For example, property owners that live out of state, we can't get them into court for building code violations. So that's how it works.
5-year-old case.
Well, one of the problems we also have, Mr. Dahlberg will tell you, is that some of the property owners literally refuse to accept the notice. Like the lady was speaking of earlier, that property that you're speaking of. Who would you serve the notice on? Who is going to be able to accept it? So it's a very difficult process, and sometimes it extends the 6-month period to 8 months, to 9 months, and to even past that. So, but it's in place. We're going to move with it, and we've identified some 3,200 vacant properties in Richmond. 3,200. For the city this size, that's far too many. I saw this lady over here, and I said to her, beg pardon?
People pay taxes on this property?
Sometimes no, and that's the problem.
Then the city should be able to pay.
Well, that's the new process. That's what we call the spot blight program. Even when they are paying taxes, if it's still dilapidated and all you're doing is paying taxes, that's not good enough.
Well, what I'm saying is you got a name.
Oh yeah, well, you got the name, but getting that, somebody can send you the check from Albuquerque, New Mexico. But where can you get that person to serve the notice on and bring it into court? And as Art said, it's hard to bring out-of-court owners into court. It's very difficult. Yes, ma'am. Thanks. Good afternoon.
My name is Marie Gordon Hart, and I live 3007 Calvary Drive in Dearborn, and I'm in the 8th district. I want to speak on the tax release for the elders.
Right.
My husband retired from the city in '91. His pay now is $191. We need that tax release. As your mother and my mother, and you knew my mother, would say, you want us to go to the poorhouse. So
you're exactly right. That's what they would say.
We really need it. And I hope that you will reconsider and give this to us seniors, because I am a senior.
Well, let me point out, it's not a matter of reconsidering. I'm in favor of it. I want to do it. I want to make certain that we can do it, and we can possibly do it even this session without doing it. Two things happen. The numbers of persons that would be included were enlarged. More numbers were added into the people. And then the tax assessments went up so that it has caused the amount of the money that's necessary to make it happen to be more than was put in. In 2006, we put in money for that to take place, but unfortunately it didn't kick in at that time because it was a part of the across-the-board 1% cuts that we did not initiate, but that were initiated at the council level. At this point, as I've said publicly and I say it again here tonight, it is a priority with me that tax relief could be made available as soon as possible. Another priority, the lady sitting next to Councilman Jewell and the lady sitting next to her, is that we could put funds in the budget to accommodate people to be able to travel to Henrico on our buses. I want to see that done. Can we do it? I hope we can get the opportunity to do it. I will work with the council to get that done.
Because we want to stay in our homes.
I wanted to see you stay in those homes.
Move into an apartment.
No, I understand that.
Okay,
Your point is very well taken. Yes, Arch.
Good evening, Mayor. My My name is Horace Harrison, and some of the citizens in my community and the adjoining communities has expressed a concern about the condition of Jeff Davis Highway. And they feel that something could be done, like to help to improve, spruce up, plant flowers, pottery, or whatever it takes to do to help to improve the appearance of Jeff Davis Highway. I've been told that when they come up Hall Street, we have a very ambitious thing going on now to improve the Manchester district. And when they come up Hall Street, and if they go Jeff Davis or if they go up Hall, basically they get the same view. So I would like to have you to talk to whoever, or
I talk to myself on occasion. I talk to myself all the time. No, Horace, your point's very well taken. We call them the corridors in Richmond. Jeff Davis, Laburnum, 9 Mile, Azalea. And one of the things we're doing is talking with our friends in the county by saying, look, it's not just a city problem. Jeff Davis extends all the way on out. Laburnum extends all the way on out. And they are with us. The county recognizes the need for what we call beautification. One of the things we want to do, and we still can do, with some of the City of the Future funds that council has given us the authority to do and to involve ourselves with, and J.R. Pope with the recreations and parks, can likewise be a part of making certain that we do beautify. It's just important to beautify Jeff Davis as it is Broad Street. It's just as important to beautify some of those other areas, and people look for it and look to see it. So can it be done? Yes. Will it be done? Hopefully. Assessments as to what it's going to cost and what it's going to take will be made. It is in our game plan to make certain that those major corridors in Richmond, and Jeff Davis is one of them, not only are beautified but are attractive, and that we have more businesses along the entire corridor leading on through Hall Street back into the city of Richmond. Good point. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Joe Simpkins. I live on Cottrell Road, which is not too far from here. You know where the Walmsley Boulevard of Broad Rock is located, right in that area. First off, I want to say thank you, Governor Wilder, for being here tonight.
Thank you.
You are probably in the friendliest part of the city of Richmond.
I've always enjoyed myself here, and the people have always been great.
We're very proud of our area. We're proud, and as you listen to these people talk, they're proud of their homes, they're proud of their communities, they're proud of the things that they do, and they're proud to have lived here, and most of them all their lives. For 40 years since this area was annexed, we feel like we have been ignored. There have been so many things in this area that have not been addressed. And we have sat patiently and quietly while we watch all the other areas of the city get the best, while we were constantly ignored. Our streets and our neighborhoods are actually falling to pieces. If you look at the edge of the roads, they're just pavement that are just crumbling away. Last year they sent a guy out with the to make the ditches deeper to take care of drainage, and and the guy said, I don't know why they're making me do this, because they actually need to fix the shoulders of the road. Putting more gravel down, putting more tar down is not going to be the answer. This area needs a major facelift. Our concern and our frustration is that we feel like that our voice is not being heard. There are things which are happening in their community. Most all of you are experiencing the same thing I have that's going on in my neighborhood. Little lots left over where they're slapping up a real quick house right next door. Or they're cutting you're cutting a lot off of the place and they're building another house. And it's half the value of the house that you're in. And then they turn around and tell you that well, this house is $150,000, so yours is going to go up too. When you know 20 years from now, it's not even going to be worth a nickel. But yours is going to be even higher.
look.
Right, it doesn't look like the
That's
neighborhood.
correct.
And we have been through the channels. Now, first off, I want to make sure that I tell you that I am very impressed with the professionalism of the people that you have brought in to the city.
Thank you very much.
We can tell that you hire people because of their expertise and their knowledge and their ability to get the job done. It is very obvious to a person who has any common sense at all. These people, the police that come around in this area are phenomenal. They ride our neighborhoods, they look good, they're polite, they wave to you. The firemen are wonderful people that protect us. We see them, they're out on the corners, they're doing good things for our community, and we notice these things. Even the police, even the inspectors, which do this area, going around, looking at the houses and things, we see them at the 7-Eleven, we meet them, they're very polite, professionally dressed, and they carry themselves well, and they represent the city well. The basic thing where I feel like the problem is most of you in here already know that we just finished this problem that we had up in Cottrell Road where they wanted to build 90 apartments. And we had to really work at stopping that from happening. And the thing was is that we went to the Planning Commission and we explained to them that we were not in favor of this type of development happening in their community. But the problem was is that when we went to the Planning